All right, so it looks like we have a co-sponsor on our repair bill, not only in the Senate, but also in the Assembly. So there are different legislative bodies in New York, the Senate, Assembly, and it looks like we have Donna Lupardo on board. I'll let you listen to what it is she has to say here.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. This is a really important subject, and as you can hear from the examples and the testimonials, that it has broad support. Just a quick update. Each of these bills is currently being reviewed by the Consumer Protection or Consumer Affairs committees in our respective houses. We have quite a few sponsors from both sides of the aisle. It is universally understood from most perspectives that this is the right way to go. However, we would be the first state to do this. And I'm very proud, as the chair of the Committee on Agriculture, to represent farmers in this discussion. As a consumer myself, to speak up on behalf of consumers who are looking for a break. Also, as someone who's been dedicated, I've dedicated most of my professional life to environmental conservation and to protection of the environment. To have this sort of landfilling go on, this culture of throwing things away when someone could have the simple ability to get their item repaired or repair it themselves. Also, on behalf of my father, who's no longer with us, he taught me how to use a soldering iron before I learned to drive, or before I learned to play with a lot of toys. I spent my youth, changing tubes and televisions and repairing a lot of things that were, readily available at the time. Most of us expect that ability right now, and I'm certainly committed to working across the aisle and with my colleagues to represent those interests and not the interests of big corporate money, who clearly would prefer it if we all just went away and kept things going the way they are. So we're here to basically challenge that status quo, and I appreciate all your support and interest. Thank you.
Now, this makes me quite happy, because this is not just a case of someone issuing their support where I have to worry about whether or not that's going to waiver when lobbyists show up at her door. This is someone who knows exactly what they're getting themselves into, exactly what doors may or may not be closing with them with regards to robust conversation contributions in the future, and does not care. Not only does she tell a story about what it was like to do repair as a kid when she learned how to solder before she knew how to drive and working on televisions and tubes and all that, when she says that I'm sure that this is going to make certain people unhappy, like large companies and corporations that just kind of wish we would all just go away, this makes me feel much more secure in the fact that when she has 12 or 14 or 18 or 25 lobbyists from representing a bunch of different associations showing up in her chambers or showing up to a hearing going, dangers, dangers, exploding lithium, TikTok installed on phones, no! That she's just going to say, nope, not listening to you. I mean, what really strikes me about her testimony is that it seems like she's fully aware that she's going to have people show up that are not a fan of the fact that she's doing this, and she doesn't care. And that's just gangster. I can genuinely appreciate that. And as I've been saying, I'm just going to keep repeating this like a broken record, I think it's really important that when people stick their neck out, which is what you're doing when you're introducing legislation that so many companies don't want, in support of our consumer rights, that we should send them a message and say, hey, thank you very much. I realize you're probably going to have 12 or 20 or 30 or 90 people show up at your office to explain to you why this is a bad idea and maybe make things difficult for you. I don't know how this works. Maybe fund your opposition or whatever. But that, even if there's 30 or 90 of them, there's thousands of us, tens of thousands of us, hundreds of thousands of us. And as of about 24 hours ago, 1.1 million of us. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for helping make what I do possible. It used to be really difficult to get people to want to sponsor this legislation. It used to be like a signature, like, maybe. Now it's the kind of thing where it's like, yep, no worries. Oh yeah, I already heard about this problem. Oh yeah, Apple's slowing down phones. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. Oh yeah, you weren't able to get some sort of chip that they exclusively sell. I'm explaining this to people. I mean, and they cut me off to say they already know. Do you know how awesome it is when somebody like 2 to 3 times my age cuts me off in the middle of me explaining a technical issue to say, oh yeah, I already know that. I heard about that. It's like, where'd you hear about it? It's probably somebody that heard about it from my video. This is awesome. And this could not have happened without every single one of you sharing this stuff, talking about this stuff with your family members, with your friends, with your coworkers, and just increasing the general awareness. Because again, I am only one person, and regardless of how much I upload to this channel, how much I inform, how much I educate, how much I talk about it, it doesn't really matter if I'm talking to myself. So thank you very, very much for not only helping us get a sponsor for this bill in the Senate, but the Assembly as well. This is really a reflection of all of the work and effort that you have all put in to help me with raising awareness for this issue over the past 7 years now. I think, yeah, late 2013 in December was when I released my first video on Apple trying to keep people from fixing stuff regarding ICE. And this has just been a really interesting 7-year journey. And thank you so much for being a part of it. I really do hope that I'm able to get some more sponsors. I'd like to invite some to the store that are in the area, because technically, hey, I pay rent on my apartment, but maybe, I also pay rent in that place. So, I should be able to speak to a senator and assembly person for that district as well. Maybe have them by. When we have a store opening party, we could have some nice fancy catered food, have some robust conversations, see what we get. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Thank you. Thank you.